Hello everybody, my name is Benjamin Bloom. Welcome along. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel and I have just spent the last hour or so watching episode 1 of season 2 of Take Us Home Leeds United over on Amazon. Amazon really going for it in terms of the football. We think they're going to maybe try and take on Sky and BT in the end. They started with some games over Christmas for free last season, and we've seen a few documentaries now. We had the All or Nothing Manchester City one that was kind of brought over from NFL documentaries that they've done before. Obviously, very recently, All or Nothing Tottenham Hotspur, the Jose Mourinho show, basically. And this is season 2, as I said, of Leeds United Take Us Home. Season 1, which was 6 episodes long, aired, I think I was on holiday when it came out. So middle of last August. Obviously, things are a bit different with COVID, but at roughly the same time as we are now, a few games, a week or so into a new football season. So I guess they've tried to match it up in that way with this COVID business that we're all dealing with. Now, this one only appears to be 2 episodes, and I did some Googling how many episodes. I can't see a clear answer or a press statement, but I've only watched one. It seemed fairly clear after about 20-25 minutes of it that we were moving very, very quickly through. So my first takeaway from this is, if you are expecting the kind of 6-chapter detail of last year's documentary, then you're not going to get it. It is more broad. Things do happen a lot more quickly. I don't know the reasoning for that. Is it COVID? Probably not. Is it that Leeds granted less access and that there were some cameras there at pre-season and at a few games and shot a couple of interviews, and that was all they actually allowed them to have? I don't know. Are they now going to focus on Premier League stuff with Leeds? We'll find out. But what I will say is it's a bit of a different watch for that matter. We start off with a flashback to the playoff defeat. I was there. Check my work ethic. On that incredible night at home to Derby in May of 2019. God, all my dates are all out of kilter now. They have a little kind of talking head from each of the chief protagonists. We get Calvin Phillips and Radrizzani, Dallas, Orta, Kinnear. One brilliant one-liner from Bielsa, I think it's in a press conference. Regrettably, we did not achieve the goal we pursued. I love how this guy, maybe something gets altered a bit in translation, but I love how this guy speaks and how direct it is. So they reset. Here comes the new season. We get Russell Crowe. And I did write down at this point, I promise, I can show you my notes. They could have got the guy from Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister. Don't worry. The guy who plays Jaime Lannister is going to appear later in the documentary. I didn't know this. We hear a brilliant anecdote from Angus Kinnear. Again, I will preface everything I say with, this is TV. We don't know how stagey all of this stuff is. But he said, after the first leg of the playoff semis, which they won 1-0 against Derby, Leeds were literally given the playoff final tickets to hold on to, and had to physically hand them over to the Derby directorship, which was quite the image, if that's exactly how it played out. We pick up with the players returning at the training facility. Again, it looked like they were there for, a day or two at most filming, so not that much access. We get one thing that's a non-Leeds thing, just the stark reality of, just remember when you're on the terraces, hopefully we'll be back soon, yelling at these guys. You get the stark reality of, that they're checking in their body fat measurements like every day, and their entire body and life is devoted to doing this. Just I know they're well paid, but just remember the sacrifices these guys make to have their entire life essentially work towards Saturday at 3 o'clock and Tuesday at 7:45. There is nothing else. It's so focused when you actually see them reporting for pre-season. Nice moment where Bielsa gives us a tour around, sort of 30, 45 seconds around, that's what it translates to as footage, around the Thorpe Arch training complex. It did remind me of when Bobby Robson is showing Gary Lineker around St James's Park on camera, and you have this idea of this, I don't know, patriarch showing you around his home or his kingdom with great kind of grandfatherly pride in Sir Bobby's case. We have an FFP discussion with Angus Kinnear and Andrea Radrizzani. We have to balance the books, and then they cut to footage of Pontus Jansson in a Brentford training top, and there's a brutal quote from Victor Orta here. We need to decide the players with the value that we consider will make less impact. Pontus was one of those players, so he makes it very, very clear about players as commodities. What is the value to the club? What is the impact on the squad? Weigh it up and identify who goes out. If you don't have parachute payments in the Championship, you have to sell your players. Here comes Ben White. Luke Ayling, who's quite good in this. I think they only shot one interview with him because it all seems to be the same setting and clothes in his home, presumably. He admits he doesn't know who Ben White was. Neither did I, to be fair, when I first saw him play. Meslier arrives. Harrison returns. We get a nice reveal of Helder Costa coming out of a lift and meeting Victor, which is quite cool. Again, we don't know how stagey this stuff is. Oh, Helder, can you just come in and hug Victor and make it look like you're meeting for that sort of thing? But it's all good fun. What I do love is the list of club captains in the Leeds boardroom where they signed the contracts. God, some players on that list. And we finish that segment about the squad, with Calvin Phillips and the persuading him to say. Off they go to Australia, so they allow them to go a little bit on pre-season. Obviously, we get an idea, if you didn't know already, if you're watching this, you probably know the size of Leeds as a club, but loads of expats there, loads travelling to Perth and Sydney, and a chance for them to get Manchester United mentioned on a documentary as well, because there's a friendly. They're back to England, and they focus a bit on Pablo Hernandez here, whether he'll re-sign. Obviously, anyone who's watched the channel knows he's the type of player I love. Goes into the category of who are you paying to watch here? Who of these 22 players are you paying the money? You're paying your ticket money for? Hernandez, great entertainer there. So Stuart Dallas, Liam Cooper all signed new deals. We get on to Kemar Ruth. There's not much from Victor Orta, but reading between the lines, he seems a bit cross about this one. It's paraphrased as, he decided to leave, we need to find a replacement. So I don't know how smooth that transition out of the club was. Interesting, here comes Eddie Nketiah, and he says the same thing. All the signings say, I'm interested to come and work in this style. Orta seems quite high on him. You can't win them all. They've been very good, that team of Kinnear, Orta, Radrizzani, Bielsa, in terms of recruitment. Well, they've been fantastic, haven't they? But not every manager. Even Alex Ferguson had some busts, and Eddie Nketiah didn't fit the style or fit in or whatever. So it's interesting to see one that came and one that didn't fit in, frankly. Here is Calvin Phillips' gran, who, if you watched the first season, you'll remember was quite the character. And we see her and Calvin Phillips' mother, who Calvin Phillips' broad smile, you can see where he gets that from. Interesting kind of little touch on how a player is a commodity, and like Orta said, assess their value, move them on based on that, or keep them. But when you hear Calvin Phillips' grandmother sort of talking about him being linked away and saying, oh well, I don't know what I'd do without him. He offered to move me wherever he went if he did go. And you kind of think it is people's families and people's lives, and footballers particularly, they do keep their families close from a very young age. They're into this weird lifestyle and world. And a lot of them we saw, who was it signed for Tottenham? Steven Bergwijn, literally just bringing his family and moving them next door to him as the support mechanism. So you do kind of realise that for like Calvin Phillips' grandma, who's presumably lived a lot of decades without this being a thing in her life, that it does make a difference when players move to their families. Here comes Phillips and his wife or girlfriend, I don't know who that is, do the contract signing. I know it's TV again, but he seems a pretty nice, calm, sort of down-to-earth bloke. I think that's reflected in the way he plays. I know, obviously, he's got a fuse, and I was at QPR and saw the fuse go at one point. But I don't want to go into that famous person hyperbole where there's no grey areas. They're either the nicest bloke in the world or they're a complete prick according to everybody. I don't want to be like that, because I've had people meet me at football matches. I'm not claiming to be as famous as Calvin Phillips, but I'm perfectly polite to them, and then they'll send a tweet saying, "Oh, I met Ben. He's the nicest guy I've ever met," and it's, you know, it all gets a little bit black and white. So I don't want to be that guy. However, he does seem like a nice bloke. Here is Jamie Lannister, as I predicted. Promise I didn't know. And then Finchy from The Office and Josh Warrington. Game of Thrones in The Office, hey? Two of my shows I watched in granular detail, let's just say. And then we start the footage. Off we go to Bristol City. I was there. Check my work ethic there. And then they really do start to fly through the season. As I said, if you wanted, you know, chapters of the season, you're not going to get it. Nothing on Charlton away and Kiko and Jonathan Lecco. I don't know if that gets mentioned. No, it can't do because of where they get up to. So I think that's completely not touched, which is interesting. Well, I haven't seen episode 2 yet. They get up to, there's one amusing bit where they talk about Leeds having a better start than last season and putting a gap between them and third place, and they showed the table and the gap was 1 point. Not sure they're totally respecting our understanding of how a league table works there, but maybe they put the wrong table up. I don't know, don't want to be too critical about it. We get the same Luke Ayling interview footage, and there's an interesting bit about his insecurity about Stuart Dallas coming into the team, playing at right back and scoring at Stoke whilst Ayling is injured. And you kind of realise that even for what you consider a really settled player, even that anxiety about getting left out and how cutthroat it is. We get up to the centenary, and I can't be the only one moved by seeing Norman Hunter. And not only did see him, and I kind of got a chill up my spine. Obviously, he's passed on since this is filmed, but they do include him talking on the microphone with Liam Cooper and Radrizzani at a centenary event. I thought it was nice that they left that in, and I can't have been the only one who, just got caught a bit unawares there about, something more important than football there. We go to footage of the centenary game, and they set up Calvin Phillips scoring the winning goal there. I don't know what he was doing that far forward. He's always between the two centre-backs when he's playing for Leeds, making the play, isn't he? But there we go. Bielsa describes the goal as an act of justice. Brilliant, because he's from Leeds and it's the centenary. Again, love how this guy speaks. Amusing bit where are we? Sorry. We get up to the Cardiff game here. And they want to perpetuate a narrative here that it's not all plain sailing. Look, it's TV. We know in the end it kind of was plain sailing. But we do get the 3-0 to 3-3 against Cardiff. And then we get the bad run with that Nottingham Forest defeat. We've heard, particularly from Phil Hay, about this mythical speech that Bielsa gave after the Forest game. Ayling does mention it quite sort of blasé as a meeting where he showed us the stats and said we were doing well. So I don't know if Mr. Hay has bigged that up more than it was, or Luke Ayling's downplaying it. One or other is true. Not criticising either for doing so. You can understand why both would, given their specific positions there. We do get that Ayling interview that was after the Forest game, where he looks very, very crestfallen and very, very honest as well. And he addresses that. I guess he's kind of the main narrator of this story, and it does play into the idea that they didn't actually have that much access this time around, just a few interviews and maybe a few days filming with press access at the games, and maybe some tunnel access. Not quite the warts and all stuff that we got last time. They're going to end the episode on the cliffhanger of COVID and Boris's speech. So we've basically, I think, what was it, game number 39? Was there 7 games left, or was there 9 games left? I can't quite remember. Well, there's 9 games left, so it'd be game number 37. Something like that takes us up to COVID. So as you can see, they've gone at absolute breakneck speed in, an hour of TV time, including the adverts. So about sort of 49, 50 minutes or what have you, has done a mass of stories. Like I said, nothing on Kiko Casilla, no chapters, no transfer window stuff, no Nketiah in the end being bombed out, no Pat Bamford and his struggles with the fans and the fingers in the ear celebration, and the anxiety of the fans when the bad run was going. It is very, very much more condensed than the previous one. It is nice to watch, and you do get the odd gem like Bielsa showing you around the training ground, but without sounding too critical, it's not the big span of information and the 6 episodes that we got on the previous one in terms of how in-depth the storytelling is. I'm sure the Leeds fans will absolutely lap it up, and me too, as a championship content maker, and Leeds being such a big story and a big part of my output last season. I lapped it up too, and I will now go and watch episode 2. What I'd love to know is what you think, what your take-homes from Take Us Home were, and which bits you found most revealing, and do you feel the same way that it's a little bit more whistle-stop tour this time, and what would you have liked to have seen included in this? I have to say, I haven't watched episode 2 yet, so I can't make a judgment about the whole shebang. And again, if you know anything more about the plans to release stuff, then do let me know. But it strikes me that in episode 2, I'm basically going to get told COVID through to promotion, basically. So, I will go and watch that later on in the day at some point. Get your thoughts in on the Amazon episode 1 of Leeds, and hopefully by the time you're watching this, or not long after, I will have uploaded the review of episode 2. So if you've watched both episodes, go through and watch my second one now. And if you've watched one and you're watching me, which you probably haven't, frankly, you're gonna binge both. Then do go ahead and try and watch the second episode. As ever, please interact with me here on YouTube. Thumbs up helps, a like here. Get in the comments, let me know your thoughts, all the questions I've posed here. Please hit subscribe. We're up to 12,255. I think it might be more than that now, since I wrote that up on the whiteboard. Up there, you can listen to all these shows as a podcast. And please help me out. As I say, 12 and a few thousand subscribers means I can't quite earn a living from ad revenue yet. So we do have some other income streams here. Amazon.co.uk/shop/the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Go and buy something from any of those lists, and you get the product and you help me out. And it's bang on trend for this Amazon documentary, isn't it? On brand. Subscribe on Patreon. $3 tier is basically a donation. $5 tier for some extra content, which we are building up all the time and trying to add to give you more bang for your buck over there. And you can sponsor the channel, sponsor any of the regular shows as a fan sponsor, or you can sponsor the whole channel. Boom. Just like that. Thank you everybody for watching. Check out the review of episode 2. Hopefully if you're watching, I've already done it, and you can just go ahead and click right now. Get your comments in, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you for watching. Over and out.